Hi, this is Joe Shannon. I'm a lawyer, a husband, a father of 6 kids, and I also host a podcast called Opening Statement with Joe Shannon. Please consider listening to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and any other folks that host podcasts. Just Google Joe Shannon and podcast, and you'll find it. I hope you enjoyed the show. We're thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have with us Bill Wilson from LaGrange, who has a tremendous law firm that I believe is generational, and he's going to tell us more about that. But one of the things that some lawyers do as a concentration is estate planning, elder law, and they think about the future. So it helps you plan for the future. And so I'm really excited to have Bill Wilson with us, who's going to talk about some of those issues and kind of like his life's journey, how he got here. How you doing today, Bill?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. We've had a number of meetings, and it's always good to catch up with a guy that's a couple suburbs in from Chicago. But tell us a little bit about where you're from, Bill. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Western Springs, Illinois, and I went to McClure Junior High School, then graduated from Lyons Township High School, in other words, LT as we call it, as did my mother and father and my sister and my son. So we've got a huge attachment with LT.
That's great.
I then went to SMU, or Southern Methodist University, for a semester, or I should say a year. And I was in medicine at the time and quickly got out of that. Not knowing what I wanted to do in life, I took about 3 years off, went back, started taking courses over at College of DuPage, and then finished up my bachelor's degree at the University of Texas at Austin. So that's where I was about 20, that'd be in 1980. So I was about 26 when I got out of undergrad. So I was truly on the 8-year program of undergrad. And, but I needed that time to figure out what I wanted to do, who I was. I needed to grow up, all of those things. And I needed that time to take off of school. So
yeah, let's talk about that. So, a lot of folks are like that. They don't know exactly what they want to do, and they're in college. And so what are some of the I don't know, colorful jobs that you had growing up as a kid, all the way through it? What are some of those?
Well, the most colorful ones were the ones that I had during that hiatus between my freshman year of college and going back to the university, or going to the University of Texas to finish up. So I was a church janitor, which they call in church terms a sexton, SEXTON. So I was a sexton for a while. I was a lifeguard, which is probably the best job I ever had in my life. You had to pay attention, but you didn't do a whole lot. You sat there and soaked up the rays, and that was about it. So I did that at the Western Springs pool for a couple years. And then I also, a friend of mine had a board up service. So what would happen if a mortgage company foreclosed on some property, we would go board it up so people couldn't get in there, or people couldn't light fires, stuff like that. So it was probably the most, that summer, that's probably when the growing up period was most significant, because we did this board up service on the south and west side of Chicago. And I really got to see how those neighborhoods, the dynamics in those neighborhoods. And I really had my eyes opened, and it was good for me. And it was a friend of mine again that had me, was nice enough to hire me to do that. So we would get up on the ladder and take 3 by 8 foot plywood and secure the windows and then secure the doors. One of the more tense situations is when you have a foreclosure and you have to come in right after the sheriff comes in and takes everything out, puts it on the curb, and then you go in and secure the building and the people are still there. So that got a little dicey at times, but luckily there was no gunplay or nothing really happened during that summer. But again, it was a growing up period where I got to see how other people lived and got to to open my eyes to the world, another world other than Western Springs, Illinois.
Right. So you end up going back to Austin. You got called to Texas twice, and then when you graduated from there, did you go straight to law school?
Yeah, I did. So I applied to several places. So I decided to go to Northwestern and live at home and commute. So just a little background. My grandfather was an attorney, and he was with a large firm downtown, Kirkland and Ellis, and he was a managing partner there. My dad was an attorney, and that's the other Wilson with the Wilson name on it. And he decided to go the small firm route, but he went to Northwestern also. So I thought Northwestern is a pretty national school. So wherever I wanted to end up, I thought Northwestern would be a good credential to have in my pocket. So that's why I picked Northwestern. So living at
No,
home.
was it Northwestern? Where is it located? The law school, is it located downtown, or is it?
Yeah,
is it
it's
up in
right
Evanston?
on Superior and Lakeshore Drive, and it's just a beautiful area. You saw the lake, everything. So, of course, Geno's East was down the block, which helped. So it was just a beautiful, beautiful area, and the law school itself at that time just was a throwback to the English law school and courtrooms and everything. Everything was a dark panel, and it was really a neat place to go. So I took the Burlington down, and then the 151 bus from Union Station over to Superior and Michigan Avenue, and just walked over. So it wasn't bad. In fact, I enjoyed that time alone and where I didn't have to drive. So it was really a good 3 years of life. So
you figured out then that, hey, listen, this law thing, it may be something for you, huh? By the time you're about 29 years old.
yeah, I was a history major at University of Texas. So history and law sort of dovetailed together. And having had the experience with my grandfather and father, it just seemed to click. So that's how I sort of steered into the practice of law.
So what did you when you got out of law school? What did you do? What did you jump into right after that?
So right out of law school, I went in with my dad right away. So that was in 1983. So passed the bar that summer. So that fall, when I got the results, I started practicing with him, and I did everything from defending drug dealers, divorce, custody. So anything that came in the door, I did only because that you had to do everything, because that's, it wasn't like I was getting a huge salary. And the way that my dad and I structured our deal is that we would share expenses, but he would have his clients and I would have my clients. So it's not like he was giving me a salary or vice versa. So we had a pretty good deal going that helped to maintain peace at the Thanksgiving Day table. So.
Well, plus, it's kind of nice to liberating that you find out that when you're starting out that, hey, listen, I'm gonna have to hustle. I'm gonna have to. And the one thing I've learned my first 5 years of practice of law is that wisdom a lot of times is finding out what you don't know, and I didn't know a lot, and so you have to learn by doing, and and that's how you get better, is by doing stuff over and over again. And it's good when you start with kind of smaller things, because then you can make some small mistakes or whatever, and then the next time you get better. So heck, you're nearly 40 years of practice. I bet you still remember some of those first cases you took and
oh yeah,
how you handled them.
Yep. I remember my first trial. It was a bench trial. It was over a snow plow, of all things, that a client of mine bought, and it was represented that it would fit on his truck. Of course, it didn't. So we sued over $150 snow plow, and the trial took 2 days, believe it or not. And I still remember that particular case. And I don't do any trial work anymore, but it was kind of heady. You felt like an attorney, even though the numbers were small, but you still had to do the foundation for evidence, all that stuff that you learned in law school, but really never had to put into practice. So that was one of the cases. And I still remember jumping around. I did some criminal stuff, jumping around from courtroom to courtroom. I'd be in Bridgeview at 9 and then have to be downtown for a probate case at, say, 10 o'clock or 11. So I remember just running around to courthouses. And luckily the judges knew what was going on, that, this is something we had to do, and we're pretty lenient about being late. But those were some crazy days, but you had to do that to be able to survive. So
sure. I want to kind of segue, Bill. One of the things that I admire about our profession is that, like, for example, I'm a trial lawyer, so I handle serious injury cases, and I learned that by working for insurance companies and large companies, and did that for about 8 years before I opened up my own firm, and I represent people that need my help. But eventually you ended up concentrating in a really cool area of law, which I think is cool, is estate planning and that type of thing, and elder law. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your practice, what it's like now? What exactly you do?
Okay, so our main focus for our firm has to do with estate planning, elder law, and elder law is that part of the law that deals with those particular issues that confront the older adult, whether it be nursing home issues, whether it be governmental benefits, whether it be powers of attorney, which blends itself over to the estate planning side. So there's a lot of lap over to estate planning, but there are just particular issues that confront the older adult that we have gotten to know and concentrate in. And the third one is special needs planning.
To me, there's a lot of people that have special needs relatives that their number one concern throughout their life is what's going to happen to them when I become incapacitated or when I die. That's the great equalizer for all of us. Doesn't matter what your race is, doesn't matter, any of this stuff. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
And the question is the court going to be involved, or am I going to plan? And that's the really cool part. I've interviewed a lot of estate planning lawyers, and I like talking to them because you've got to come up with ingenious ideas that are elegant, that can fit exactly what every person's situation is. But all of us need estate planning, don't we?
Yeah, we all do. And it doesn't matter if you're my son's age, who's 22. We have basically some documents that he has signed, powers of attorney for healthcare and powers of attorney for property. So if something, life throws us curveballs. So if something happens to him where he can't make these decisions, then he's already set up. So if you take that simple case even further, you have people that have kids or have amassed some property, and you don't want that property to go through probate. And just quickly, probate is a court procedure where you have to open up an estate and the court basically looks over your shoulder, and there's some time delay, stuff like that. We want to avoid that. We do that through revocable living trusts, but we want to avoid that. So that's one of our big suggestions, is to use the living trust that way. But really the most important documents when you're still living are your powers of attorney, okay? Your will and your trust usually aren't that effective, but aren't impactful until you either become incapacitated or pass away. So, but your powers of attorney are always there to help you plan what you want concerning medical decisions, end of life decisions, or having someone help you with your financial or property decisions when you can't do that on your own. So that's why I always feel that the powers of attorney for healthcare and property while you're still living are the most important documents that you can sign.
So how many offices do you have, Bill?
We have two main offices, one in LaGrange and the other one is up in Northbrook. We do have satellite offices by appointment only in Warrenville and over down in Orland Park.
All right, so tell us about how you started the business up north.
So I have a business coach that knew someone that was retiring. So she and I got together, and so we opened up a business, and so she retired, and we developed her business. We brought some things to her that she wasn't doing, namely the special needs stuff and the elder law pieces. So we were able to expand her practice, and it's really going well. I'm very, very pleased on how it has blossomed. And in fact, we're running out of space, so that's our next adventure, is try to find some more space. But they basically do what we do up down here: estate planning, elder law, and special needs planning. So it's our northern contingent in Northbrook, and it's a great area too, great people, and it's a perfect area. It sort of mimics the people in LaGrange and Western Springs area. So it's good.
I liked it. Sounds exciting. All right. So, hey, listen, I wanted to talk to you. You told me before about how you were inspired to get involved in estate planning or special needs type trusts. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. When I was young, probably 12 years old, I met well, I won't say gentleman, he was still a kid too, who was like, maybe 7 or 8 years older than I. And what he was a special needs fella, and he always would have his radio, and he would be jumping off the high board, and so we always thought that, hey, this what's going on with this guy? And we sort of befriended him. And then if you fast forward 30 years, I got to know his parents. His parents got older. And what happened is that they needed a guardian, and they didn't feel like they could do that. So they asked me to be his guardian. So this was my entree into the special needs piece of our practice, just getting to know the law about special needs and the governmental benefits, stuff like that. So I really got to learn on the job just through meeting him. And like I always say, I learn more from him than he does from me about life. I talk to him every day. He's part of our family, and we always look forward to seeing him. So he even comes to the office, and our receptionist Tammy, he likes Tammy because Tammy shows him stuff on the internet, and so he's like I say, he's part of the firm, part of the family, and part of my world too. So
Yeah, what an honor for a family to think, you know, so much of you to entrust their own son to you. That must make you feel pretty good.
it does. And they were a forward thinking family, because even when he was living at home, they knew that some point that they weren't going to be around. So they got him into a residential program early on, even when he still could have lived at home. So they got him used to this residential program. So yeah, they really thought ahead, and it is an honor, really. It is an honor. So
That's one thing I really like about community law firms like yours. You know that you're entrenched in LaGrange. You know, you grew up in close Western Springs. Um, you know, you've developed ties there, and you become so much part of the community there that people know, hey, listen, if I've got a problem that I cannot help myself with, I can just go talk to Bill, and he'll listen to me. And he's not there just to make money from me. He's there to develop a relationship with me so that I can help him in the future. And is that what you're kind of seeing in the community you're in?
yeah, it really is. And you know, having grown up here, you have a natural resource of people that you know and that become clients. And being active in the community is something that I feel is very important. In fact, have my attorneys do the same in their communities. Um, it's something that you have to give back. I'm on a not-for-profit board, and it's called Aging Care Connections, and that's it has to do with serving the older adult. So that certainly is what we're all about too. So being in the community, knowing people makes you not only enriches your life, but it makes you accountable too, because you're going to see these people, and if you don't treat them right, you know, you're going to see them out in the community. And this is something that we really hit home with our firm, is that you've got to give them the respect and the experience of a uh, of a firm that really cares about them, rather than chasing the almighty buck. And what we try to do, and you know, a lot of our stuff has to do with documents, getting documents signed. So we don't feel that we're a document led law firm. It's not that we have your documents signed and see you later. We feel that we need to develop a relationship with you, and we do that through having seminars, through our newsletters, through our website. So it's just not one and done. We want to know about you. We want to become relationship oriented. So it's not something that, hey, that's my attorney. I saw him, or I saw him 3 or 4 years ago, but I haven't heard from him. No, we make sure you hear from us all the time. So I think that's something that he stands where we stand apart from many firms. And but again, it's the community thing, and that's what makes us I feel very successful.
Well, one of the things that with estate planning and other areas of the law is that the law changes, tax code changes, all these things change, and a lot of these documents that are put together for estate planning. I know there can be different tax implications with new administrations and different Congresses, and so you got to make sure that you're up to date. Just like it's like your car almost. You got to make
Right.
sure that your car's tuned up. I'm assuming it's the same with estate planning.
No, it is, and so we keep up through the seminars that we go to, the newsletters that we receive, the online seminars that we all attend, and so we keep up with what's going on. And when we feel that our clients should know about something, in fact, we're going to send out a news blast about planning with the new administration, because there may be some really not draconian, but certainly some different types of tax changes that our clients need to know about. So one of the ways we do that is we send what's called a constant contact blast, which is an email blast to all of our clients, all of our referral sources, and all of our potential clients, telling them, be on the lookout, okay, for these types of things. We also have a 3-year gratis checkup for all of our clients. So every 3 years, we have them come in and we take a look at their documents and make sure that they are where they should be, given the current state of the law. So we also check in to see if anything's happened in their lives that should be reflected in those documents. So we try to keep on top of the law and also on top of those documents that the clients have signed.
Tell me a little bit about your attorneys and staff.
Okay, we have 4 attorneys, myself and 2 other attorneys that are in the LaGrange office. We have 1 attorney up in Northbrook. So luckily, the 2 attorneys in my office are quite a bit younger than I. So if I ever retire, which I'll do probably what my dad did. He practiced until he was 88. So, but if I ever slow down or something happens to me, I have some younger people here that are very, very competent. They all do what I do, the estate planning, elder law, and special needs. They're quite competent in those areas. We also have a receptionist and a firm administrator, and our firm administrator is down in Florida, believe it or not. So with this new technology, she can administer the firm and pay the bills. She's also the bookkeeper, and run the firm on the administrative side from being afar. So she does come up a couple times a year just to to make sure, she needs to have some FaceTime, but uh, she's she's excellent, and even though she's not right on site, we have two paralegals up in Northbrook, and who support the attorney up there, and then we have two paralegals in LaGrange and two admin staff. So we have about 10 people that are in the firm.
That's great. And then tell me a little bit. So you said your grandfather was an Illinois lawyer, and then your father was an Illinois lawyer as well.
Right. My grandfather graduated from Illinois Wesleyan undergrad. And he also went to law school at Illinois Wesleyan. Of course, they don't have a law school anymore. And he founded, if you ever heard of the fraternity, TEAK, TKE, he founded the TEAK fraternity down at Illinois Wesleyan. So he came out of Illinois Wesleyan Law School and started to practice in Pontiac, Illinois. And then he moved up to Chicago, where he was originally from, and joined the firm of Kirkland, Ellis, and it used to be a couple other names. So he was a managing partner, and his expertise was condemning land for the state of Illinois. In fact, he condemned the land for 294 and the East-West Tollway.
Wow. So you can think about him every time that we drive down the 88.
Yeah, I know. Every time I pay a toll, I'll think about him.
What was his name?
His name was William Wilson also.
Wow. So this is so, I can't remember who said it. I think it was St. Peter says, to those that much is given, much is expected. So
Yeah.
all this wisdom came down from the grandfather and the father. So no pressure, Bill.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I think that's one of the reasons my dad took a little different route, didn't go with the big firm, because, he could see the downsides of the big firm straight up, right up close. So that's why he started his own firm in the early 60s here in Western Springs above the old post office. And then he branched out into LaGrange. And then again, I came in 83. So so Dad took a little different route, but certainly, he's very active in the community. And he used to do the stuff that I do now. And he always told me that, yeah, I know you have to do everything when I got out of law school, but at some point you really have to specialize, because the legal industry has gotten so complicated. This is back in the 80s, that you can't know everything about everything. So it's better to specialize. And he was doing elder law stuff before they even called it elder law. I remember going to nursing homes with him and seeing clients and stuff like that. So that's how I got it honestly from him.
That's great.
Type of practice.
And then what kind of things do you like to do to have fun, Bill?
Well, a lot of things. Although with COVID, it's a little limited, but
sure.
The things that I love to do is I have hunting dogs that I train, and we hunt pheasants. And I'm not so enamored with the hunting part of it, but I'm enamored with what we can do with how we can train dogs. And it's amazing the potential in these dogs that, and they obviously are part of the family. So
what kind of dogs are they?
These are English Springer Spaniels, and they're field bred. So they look a little different than your regular Springer Spaniel that you see on the Westminster Kennels Club show. So these are more stealth and a little bit taller, and they're just amazing dogs. The noses on them are, they can sniff out anything, although it does get them in trouble too, because I bring my dog to work and he's in every single garbage can that's in the whole place. And right after Thanksgiving, he ate someone's turkey sandwich. So it's challenging, but it's good to have, and everyone likes the dog. These types of dogs are so friendly and love people, so it's a calming influence in the office. So it's good to
So,
have.
are you a reader, Bill? You like reading books?
Yeah, I love reading books.
Some of the books you like to read, or you
Oh,
read?
what I'm reading now, I've got about 3 or 4 books going right now. One of them is called Vivid Vision, and it's about planning 3 years ahead for your practice, and not only that, but for your personal life too. So I'm reading that, which I find it's a small, quick read too. So it's not a tome. I'm reading called The Operator, about Navy SEALs, and about their different training, stuff like that. And also, what else? I love to read history. I'm of course, a history major, so I love reading about the Civil War and World War II, especially. So I'm a member of the Civil War Roundtable, where we get a lot of the authors like McPherson and some other guys that are really well known. His Battle Cry of Freedom is an excellent, fairly short book on the Civil War, how it started, what happened, and I thoroughly recommend that book if you're at all interested in the Civil War. I listen to a lot of podcasts too, so mainly about history and self-improvement. And I spend a fair amount of time in the car or at night listening to these podcasts, and they're ubiquitous. You can listen at any time, and it's really a neat place where you can certainly gain a lot of knowledge.
Now you can listen to yourself on the opening statement.
I don't know if I want to do that, but
but listen, is there any message you want to give to folks that are your clients or potential clients if when they're listening to this podcast?
Well, first of all, to my clients, it's just an honor to be involved in their life. Okay, that's something that I feel that relationships are what life is all about, whether it's relationship with your higher power or relationship with other people. That's what life is all about, at least to me. And again, I feel honored to be a part of those people's lives that are clients. To people that may be clients, certainly our arms are open. We love meeting new people. We like to keep in touch with people. If you're not the type of person that wants to hear from us all the time, you're probably not our type of client, but that's okay too. So again, and we touched upon this a little bit before, that you just need to plan. You just need to plan. You can't plan too much with life, and whether it's planning for your business or your own estate planning, no matter what age you are, it's something that you have to sit down. And many times it's not enjoyable having that conversation with yourself or your spouse or with your kids, but it's good to let people know once you have planned, at least tell your loved ones what you're doing and what their role is going to be.
Thank you for listening to the opening statement with Joe Shannon. You can find us on the internet at shannonlawgroup.com or telephone our office at 312-578-9501. Have a terrific day.